My initial concept for this project Carpe Noctem was to create a car chase scene through a city. These initial sketches show my concept for some of the environment designs I envisioned and also some of the cars that I designed and sketched from a template. These provide a good foundation for me to reference to create my project. I end up using all of these ideas in my final animation with changes to it to suit the project. Modeling is one of the most important aspects of my project, and I utilize a range of techniques to create the cars and environment, including but not limited to bridges, buildings, petrol stations, roads, tunnels, and cities. Building from my previous experiences, I am able to efficiently create the car models with neat topography and high levels of detail to achieve realism in my animation. Here I demonstrate how I create some parts of one of the cars using vertices to create appropriate mesh that shows the curvature of the body panels. I also use face orientation to make sure that the planes are facing the right direction, and I also use loop tools to evenly distribute the mesh to create even topology for texturing. With the environment, large-scale cityscapes are created using geometry nodes instancing buildings to randomly distribute them across a defined area, while smaller and more detailed scenes such as the petrol station requires hand modeling to create assets such as the fuel pumps and gas cans. I referenced real-life images of petrol stations to make assets that I found suitable for the scenes. Modeling the environment took the longest in my practical aspect of my major work, and is also the most complicated. With texturing and materials, I used a mixture of image textures and procedurally generated textures. Image textures are especially useful for creating realistic materials such as roads, and I did this by creating PBR textures in Photoshop with photos I've taken of roads. This makes image textures have more realistic depth and reflection in the scenes. Once these image textures have been made, I can reuse them in different scenes and change the scale to suit my needs. Procedurally generated textures are good for materials such as concrete and car paint, which could be achieved with a combination of nodes such as Voronoi and noise textures provided in Blender. The advantage of using procedurally generated materials is that the color and roughness, glossiness, and detail can be edited in a non-destructive method. Here I am using cube projection to project an image of city buildings on these objects, which are distorted and randomly displaced to form a city using geometry nodes. Animation ties together all aspects of my project as it creates action within all the scenes. The main animation I focused on was the movement of the cars, including basic movements, suspension, turning, and drifting. This is achieved by using an outsourced rigging system that generates a bone structure for the cars. The rigging system comes with intuitive controls, so that manual animations with the cars are direct and responsive. With this, I am able to create dynamic movements with the car. Some animations I also created are using looping animations, which can be seen with the helicopter blades. I keyframed a procedurally generated wave texture to emulate heat dispersion from the engine of the helicopter to make it seem more realistic. I also used parallax effect in one of the scenes of my animation. This visual effect is achieved by moving different layers of the background at different speeds, so it seems like the foreground is moving faster. Contrary to most of my camera actions in my animation, which are dynamic, the parallax effect does not require the camera to move at all, and instead is captured with the movement of objects in the scene. Here I am using geometry nodes to create a procedurally generated chain link fence. By modeling a tiny section of the fence, I can use instancing to generate the rest of the fence easily. This saves both time and is more efficient when creating such models in a scene. This is a great use of geometry nodes as the fence can be changed easily with mathematical formulas. Overall, I feel that given the time frame and hardware restrictions, my project comprehensively demonstrates a high degree of difficulty and achieves all aspects of my major project as outlined in my statement of intent.